I'm Linda. I'm a housewife in my late 40s. I have two daughters, Sarah, a sophomore in college, and Emily, a senior in high school. Both my family home and my in-laws' home are in the countryside, and my husband, David, is the second son. From an outsider's perspective, it seems like I have an easy life without the typical mother-in-law troubles, which they envy. But all I can do is give a wry smile in response. My husband is the epitome of an old-fashioned, domineering husband. He often brags, "I'm the one earning the money. If you have a problem with that, we can just get a divorce." And does absolutely nothing around the house. When the kids were little, he'd annoyingly insist it would be pitiful for the girls to come home without mother, preventing me from working outside. I don't mind being a housewife or doing household chores. But even when I prepare a dinner of meat and potatoes, spinach salad, and fried mackerel, he complains, "Is this all? You're a housewife, you should do better." And I do all this while entertaining my younger daughter who clings to me, helping my older daughter with her homework, and preparing the bath. When my husband comes home, he just lounges on the sofa in the living room, mindlessly watching TV. He never plays with the girls. Every couple of months, on a whim, he takes them to the park, and on their birthdays, he condescendingly gives them presents, saying, "You can have these because I work. Be grateful to me." He thinks that's enough to show his love for them. Gradually, I started to dislike my husband. He seems to mistake me for a maid rather than a loving wife. But I don't have the financial means to get a divorce. I've convinced myself that if I just endure, things will work out. When I was younger, the term emotional abuse wasn't widely recognized, and every time the topic of divorce came up, my husband would say, "You'll struggle if we split. Someone like you, who's only done housework, is easily replaceable. Not me. My job can't function without me." This made me believe I was the flawed one. Even if I thought about working, the idea of having a boss like my husband and facing criticism at work too was unbearable. "Mom, I hate Dad. He's always so full of himself, but he doesn't do anything. Hey, why don't you divorce him?" I never complained about my husband in front of my daughters, and he usually doesn't say much in front of them either, but kids notice everything. Especially since they're girls. They're very sensitive to his negativity. When he's in a bad mood and likely to take it out on someone, the girls distract him or help with the housework without me having to ask. They are really good daughters. Coming from the countryside, divorces were rare and unusual in my youth. In my area, it was common to hear rumors like that family has a daughter who returned home after a divorce. In the cultural context where my in-laws and husband saw his domineering behavior as normal, I tried my best to endure. I didn't want to cause my daughters any distress because of me. However, as I kept mulling over whether a decisive event would justify a divorce, before I knew it, about 10 years had passed. I no longer have any affection for my husband. Our relationship remains the same, but now that the girls are more independent, I've re-entered the workforce. After working as a temp for a while, I was hired as a full-time employee. My older daughter is now a sophomore in college. And my younger daughter is a senior in high school. With financial stability and finally some peace of mind, I feel ready to divorce at any moment. Then, one day, while out shopping with my daughters, I caught sight of my husband arm in arm with a young woman, being overly affectionate. What baffles me is why he would choose to have a date with his mistress at a shopping mall near a station we frequently visit. I thought he knew we were going shopping today. Does he not care about my daughters and my activities? Or is his crisis management so poor that he didn't consider the possibility of running into us? I really wonder how he can function at work normally. My daughters also noticed him and were disgusted, exclaiming, "Seriously? Cheating? Unbelievable. That woman. She looks about our age, which is just creepy." Their reaction was quite strong. "Mom, we're going to lose sight of them. Let's follow them." They started taking photos and recording videos on their phones, saying, "This is the worst. We'll never forgive him." They seemed even more upset than I was. "Right, let's do that." We blended into the crowd and followed them, only to end up at a surprisingly unexpected place. My husband and the young woman entered a flashy pink shop. A clearly dubious establishment. Wait, this shop is. Isn't this some kind of adult club, not just a regular nightclub, right? Yes, it seems so. Gross, so gross. Mom, you have to divorce him. We need a family meeting today. I don't even want to call him a dada anymore. This is a bit more than I expected. Though my daughters and I were shaken, the shop was specialized in a particular niche. That night, we had a family meeting at home. You're cheating, aren't you? What? What's all this about all of a sudden? We saw you with a young woman this afternoon. Oh, you saw that? It's just a bit of fun with a cute girl. Just playing around. My husband always acts arrogantly in front of me. Even now, he's sitting back in his chair, all puffed up. Playing around? You're married. I earn the money here. Do you think you're in a position to complain about what I do? I'm free to do what I want. You guys can't live without me. So just shut up and obey me. My daughters silently watched our conversation. I sighed and showed him the photos printed from my daughter's phone. Look. We saw you going into that shop too. What? Oh, that's... His flustered demeanor was pitiful. If he didn't want to be caught, he shouldn't have done such things. I didn't know you had such hobbies. The shop my husband entered specialized in infantilism play. Imagining my usually domineering husband in baby cosplay, speaking in baby talk, and seeking affection from employees close to my daughter's ages was just too creepy. Shut up, shut up. I'm a man. You should just be quiet and obey me. Even his blustering didn't scare me anymore. As I looked at him with disdain and cold eyes, he shouted, "What's with that look? Who do you think I am? I'll divorce you." All right, let's get a divorce. He seemed surprised that I agreed. What? You think you can support the family? I'm the one who earns the money here. By now, I was working as a full-time employee and, unbeknownst to him, earning more due to a qualification I obtained. But I had no intention of telling him that. Tell me, then, can you handle all the housework and childcare? What? Of course not. Right. You can't, can you? Criticizing someone for something she can't do herself is just poor manners. I've been doing the things you can't do. We should be grateful to each other, not using it as ammunition for attack. If I hadn't been taking care of the housework, childcare, and you wouldn't have been able to focus on your job. But unlike you, I've never once complained about you not doing housework. This was a matter of pride for me. After our second child was born, my husband didn't help at all with housework or childcare. In fact, he was the one who caused the most trouble. You can't earn money. Anyone can earn money if they work. But you know, trust and family bonds can't be bought with money. They require time and effort to build. Something you never bothered to do. My husband finally fell silent. Perhaps he was unsure how to react since I was not backing down like I usually do during our arguments. It's only natural, considering I've always been the one to clean up after our fights. But it's over now. So that's it. We're getting a divorce, I told my daughters. Then my husband exclaimed, "Hey. I'm taking custody of the kids." You? The one who never did any housework or parenting. What, do you plan to make our daughters do all the chores now? Well, they're girls, and I'm a man. It's time they learned some bridal training. I'm appalled. So, once I'm no longer your maid, our daughters are next, huh? Dad, I'm going with Mom. If it's between living with you or Mom, it's Mom, hands down. Why would we even consider choosing you? Me too. Why should we live with you? What kind of punishment is that? You just brag and do nothing. You all. If you go with your mother, you won't be able to earn money. You'll see the hardship. You won't be able to pay for college. If you only graduate high school, you won't find a good marriage partner. You'll just end up living in poverty. Are you kidding? You think a woman's future is just about getting married? My husband tried to persuade them, but it was completely counterproductive. I wonder how he's so skilled at rubbing people the wrong way. He didn't even realize the girls were utterly rejecting him, let alone understand why. Right. Of course, I'll be expecting child support and alimony. We're divorcing because of your infidelity and years of emotional abuse. And I'm working too. Why do you assume we'll end up poor? You're destroying our family. You'll regret this. Destroying the family? That would be you. I've tolerated more than enough. And I do have regrets. I should have left you sooner. I had been gathering evidence of his emotional abuse in preparation for this day. I kept a diary with records of his verbal abuse and recorded him on my cell phone. I also saved all our text messages. I was fully prepared. And so, my husband and I divorced. When he started to make a fuss during the divorce, I hired a lawyer. Since he tends to be submissive to authority figures, things proceeded smoothly afterward. We sold the house we had been living in, and my husband moved into an apartment alone. My daughters and I started living in a different apartment. We received the child support in a lump sum from the sale of the house. So there's no need to contact my ex-husband anymore. If we ever need to contact him, we decided to do so through our lawyer, and I warned him that if he contacts us directly, I'll show the evidence of his affair to his parents. He's too embarrassed to make any contact now. Then I heard a rumor that my husband got arrested. Turns out the woman he was cheating with wasn't interested in him at all, she was just a sex worker, and their relationship was nothing more than that of a client and a worker. Despite this, my ex-husband persisted, showing up at the club saying, "There's nothing in our way now. Let's get married." He disrupted her work, insisting, "She's my woman," and pleading with her to quit her job and do housework for him. He even found her apartment and showed up at her place. After repeated warnings, he didn't stop, leading to a scuffle with the club's security guards and his eventual arrest for severe stalking. The woman, traumatized by the incident, quit her job and disappeared back to her hometown. To avoid a criminal record, my ex-husband paid a settlement of $10,000, but his arrest became known at his workplace, leading to his resignation. He's been unable to find another job and is living an unemployed life, drained of energy. Serves him right. As for me, my younger daughter got accepted into college. Both my daughters are enjoying their university lives. I've been promoted to a position responsible for training new employees at my workplace, progressing smoothly in my career. My salary has increased, and we celebrated together. As soon as I divorced my husband, everything started going well for me, and I finally grasped happiness.